Hello investors, welcome back to another episode of Vishal Wealth View. Since I uploaded my last video, a lot of you have been interested in my mutual fund portfolio and the switch fund strategy that I usually use. That's why in today's episode I'm going to talk about my mutual fund portfolio. I'm going to discuss each and every one of my mutual fund holding in detail. I'm going to talk about my time horizon and my philosophy. Along with that, I'm also going to discuss about my switch fund strategy and how I'm playing that right now. What's my strategy over 3 months to 6 months in my mutual fund portfolio, and how can you use it to generate better return than at least Nifty 50. So without wasting much time, let's start this episode. So I started investing back in 2020. I started with SIP. तो if you see this graph, यहाँ पे आपको दिखेगा ज़्यादा इनिशियली मेरे को कोई gains नहीं मिल रहे थे and my journey was pretty slow, and the growth was also not great, I would say. And 3 से 4 साल तक it was the same case up until almost November 2022. And after that, in June 2023, August 2023, I enjoyed some amount of returns on my mutual fund, and at that time I stopped investing through SIP route, क्योंकि मुझे समझ में आने लगा था कि SIP में एक प्रॉब्लम है, like if the markets are high and you know the markets are high, like there is some amount of froth, people are just too bullish on random companies, बहुत ज़्यादा IPOs आ रहे हैं, people are just pumping and dumping. At that time I don't want to put in fresh capital. तो जब भी मुझे ऐसा केस लगता है एंड आई गेट अ सेंस ओके मार्केट माइट बी अ बिट ओवरवैल्यूड, आई पार्क माय कैश in debt funds and then usually invested when there is some amount of correction. And that has been my strategy since like this time. And I have been able to generate some amount of returns, decent amount of returns using this strategy. So I again use this strategy like at the beginning of this financial year. I was having a return of about 3%, 4% at the beginning of this financial year. And right now I'm sitting almost on a profit of about 20-21%, which is almost close to 16% or 17% in this financial year compared to Nifty 50 return of about 10-11% in this financial year. So I find that switch fund strategy works better for me to hold and accumulate cash and then bulk invest when the markets are down in really aggressive stocks. So I'm going to talk about this strategy, but first let's start by understanding what's my portfolio structure. तो अगर अपन यहाँ पे देखें तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ माय होल्डिंग्स इज इन इक्विटी. अभी कुछ दिनों पहले मार्केट वाज इन अ करेक्शन फेज एंड आई गॉट मोर बुलिश बिकॉज एवरीवन वाज मोर अनसर्टेन, सो आई इंक्रीज माय होल्डिंग इन इक्विटी. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सेक्टर वाइज देखें तो 38% ऑलमोस्ट इट्स इन फाइनेंशियल, 13% इन टेक्नोलॉजी एंड बाकी सब मिसलेनियस है, ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इंडिविजुअल होल्डिंग्स. अगर हम इंडिविजुअल होल्डिंग्स की बात करें तो द प्राइमरी होल्डिंग आई विल से इज पराग पारेख फ्लेक्सी कैप. आई स्टार्टेड माई एस आई पी जर्नी फ्रॉम दिस म्यूचुअल फंड एंड मैंने 2022 या 2023 के बाद एस आई पी में बंद कर दिया था. एंड राइट नाउ आई एम हैविंग एन एक्स आई आर ऑफ 19.27. I would really recommend this mutual fund for beginners investor. Again, this is not an investment advice. Please discuss money with your financial advisor. But what I have learned is this, even though this has a higher expense ratio, let me see what's the expense ratio, 0.60. It's on the higher end compared to the Nifty 50 index fund or mid cap index fund. But the portfolio manager of this particular mutual fund has a really good philosophy of investing in high cash flow companies, as companies that do not have huge leverage, and that builds a good downside protection for any company the portfolio manager is investing in. So if अगर आप इसका portfolio देखोगे, if you will see the holdings, there'll be HDFC Bank, Power Grid, Bajaj Holdings, Coal India, ITC. None of the company can be considered overvalued in any terms by any investor around the world. They're like really quality companies picked at a reasonable value. So that's why I'll say, like, even though there was a huge amount of market correction during 2024, this mutual fund did not see a like saw a huge correction. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि because the portfolio manager is really thinking too much about the downside protection before investing, this is a really good hedge for your entire portfolio. तो इसलिए मैंने इसके अंदर अपने ऑलमोस्ट 20-25% कैपिटल रख रखा है, 21 लाख, ऑलमोस्ट आउट ऑफ 84 लाख इसके अंदर ही है. सो आई थिंक दिस गिव्स अ गुड डाउन साइड प्रोटेक्शन फॉर माई इंटायर पोर्टफोलियो एंड सर्व्स एज अ बेस. सो दिस इज लाइक अ गुड डिफेंस फॉर मी. Next is Parag Parekh ELSS Tax Saver Fund. Again, it's managed by the same portfolio manager, and this is a ELSS Tax Saver Fund that I usually invest for, like, saving tax. These are tax saving schemes. So under 150 C is a provision, like if you invest in these kind of schemes, you don't have to pay tax. You can read it about on Nifty GPT. Then we have Quant Small Cap Fund Direct Plan Growth. Now, I got invested or like introduced to this entire Quant small cap story by some random YouTube video. I'm not gonna lie. So I just tipped my toe in the water and I wanted to see like how is the return is going to be. So I invested in Quant Small Cap Fund Direct Plan Growth. I think back in when did I invest in this? June 2023 to April 2024, around 1 year. And I am able to enjoy a return of about 17%. Not bad, but not, I'll say, there were flags that there are some risk associated with this portfolio manager, that there's some insider trading going on. तो उसके बाद I was not comfortable and I lost some amount of trust. तो फिर मैंने fresh capital इसके अंदर introduce नहीं किया. Then we have Mirai Asset Nifty Small Cap 250 Momentum Quality 100 ETF Fund of Fund Direct Growth. And in this, I'm getting an XIR of 12.75. So this was a switch that I recently made. Now, let me first tell you what this mutual fund is all about and why I'm sitting on 9% return. So I made a switch in this from my mid cap holding to entire small cap holding. And this mutual fund, small cap 250 momentum quality 100 ETF, this is a collection of 100 stocks in the Nifty small cap 250 space that have the best momentum and quality score. So, how I think about investing. Okay, if I'm picking or investing my capital in a company, I expect it to grow. Now, I also understand that the news in the market travels like equally, and people usually, if there is a good earning coming for a company, people will understand, okay, there is a good company, like earning coming for a company, and the momentum for that stock will usually gain. So momentum based investing usually work. And this is a really good balanced index for me because it is a combination of both momentum and quality factor. That means I'm not investing in any company that's having a huge amount of leverage, and I'm also investing in companies that have a decent growth. So that way I can expect more growth compared to the entire small cap index. So let's compare like what are the return of this index in the past few years. Now you can find this fact sheet on NSE's website. This is for a small cap 250 momentum quality 100 index. Now on the back tested data, this index was able to generate a 5 year CAGR of about 25% and since inception 20%. In last 1 year, we are sitting on a loss of about 10%. Now, if you see what are the like major holdings for this, it's capital goods and financial services. Now, the composition of this index is created in such a way that no single company is going to hold more than 3%. And like, even though there is some amount of, so what happens is like every 6 months it gets rebalanced. Every company has 3% as maximum weightage, and during the trading session of next 6 months, some companies gain more market cap, and that's why they have more weightage compared to other companies. So 3% is like the limit, and there is a rule that companies can only exit if they are like in not top 20 or top 30 of the momentum quality score. So that's why this gives us a good combination of diversification, growth, and quality basket. And I trust uh, algorithms making decisions compared to portfolio manager because a portfolio manager cannot be consistent and cannot beat index consistently. It's really hard. So that's why I'm going to put my money and bet my money on indexes. So this is the reason why I think this was a good exposure for me in the entire small cap space, because I have a 7 to 10 years time horizon for this entire holding. So I don't mind. So next we have a debt fund, which I usually use for my switch fund strategy. So this is Kotak Bond Short-Term Fund Direct Growth. Now I will build up capital in this particular mutual fund for 3 to 4, 5, 6 months whenever I think the time is right, and then I'll use this feature called Switch Fund over here, Switch. And what I'll do with this particular feature is I'll select this momentum index, which is the primary index in which I'm investing in compared to Nifty 50, because I think this is a better combination for me to invest compared to Nifty 50, as I can generate better growth. So I'll just select this fund and I'll be able to switch my money in this when the time is right. Now, I don't want to do this through SIP route. The reason is it's not the best time to invest on everyday basis, and sometimes you just know, okay, there is a news that just came out and market is a bit down, and this is a good time for me to make a big purchase, and that way you can easily enjoy 4 to 5% return on your portfolio for a particular year. 4 to 5% might be a like big target initially, but I'll start with 2 or 3%. So that's the strategy that at least I have been using, and I used it at least 2 times in last 5 years. Now, I'll recommend one more thing, that if you are using this, then do not take too many decisions. Reduce the number of decisions. Wait for the timing, and like when you think the price has really corrected, so that you get the maximum benefit when the market just rebounds. And the last is Kotak Nifty 200 Momentum 30 Index Fund Direct Growth. Now, this is a only momentum based fund, having 30 companies out of Nifty 200 companies. Now, usually Nifty 200 companies are really good quality companies having good management, health score. So that's why there is relatively lower risk of fraud, and lower risk of default because of bad leverage. So that's why I was comfortable in investing only momentum based index in Nifty 200 space. And since like the time I started investing in this index, I'm able to generate an XIRR of 17% and return of about 12%. Now, this is the place where I use the switch fund strategy aggressively during the months of March to May. And if you see from Jan 2025 to May 2025, I was aggressive in making investment in this particular index. So this is my strategy. I'll say this is a switch fund strategy, to quickly bulk invest your capital in mutual fund that you think have corrected a lot, and you can generate a moderate return on the extra return that your mutual fund is going to generate anyways. And that's all what I have for you for today's episode. If you enjoyed this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to Vishal Wealth View. Bye bye. Happy investing.